and we are celebrating this day with enthusiasm to save the environment. And in this occasion, we organize a webinar, Harnessing Bioenergy, a Sustainable Pathway for Environmental Restoration. And we are good fortunate that we have the renowned academician, Dr. Vinayak. He is currently working as assistant professor in Department of Science at Manav Rachna University, Faridabad, Haryana. He completed his PhD from Gurukul Kangri University, Haridwar. He has published more than 40 research articles in reputed international journals. He has also authored many book chapters with international publisher. Currently, he is guiding 3 research scholars and working in area of waste to energy generation, waste biomass-based sensor development, and monitoring of environmental pollution and its management. So on behalf of National Institute of Occupational Health, I heartily welcome Dr. Vinayak Pathak. And also, I will convey my heartily thanks Dr. Hiramani Yadav, Professor, Central University of Gujarat, for joining this event. Thank you all the participants who joined in this webinar. So now I invite Dr. Vinayak Pathak to deliver his talk. Yes, sir, now.
Thank you so much, sir, for your nice introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to in this webinar. And I'm really very honored with this opportunity that I will share my insight on this very wonderful occasion of World Environment Day. So first of all, happy World Environment Day to all. And as sir has told me that to all that I am working in the area of bioenergy. I'm working in this area since last 10 years. And the main work which I am doing in this area is basically sustainable bioenergy generation. So in this presentation, I will be discussing about how we can use bioenergy for environmental restoration. And I will connect the bioenergy with the possible solutions that we can adopt to restore our environment. So as we all know that, just a minute. Okay. So as you all know that the theme of this year World Environment Day is land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience. So according to the theme of the World Environment Day, I have designed this presentation so that I can address all these issues on the basis of bioenergy, right? So first of all, how biomass energy can address the land restoration. So according to the data which is provided by the world agencies, around 350 millions of land.
Hello?
Yes.
Vinayak sir. Sir, presentation mode pe kar lijiye.
Just a second. Is it fine now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So around 350 million people are living at the risk of desertification. They are facing various crises. So how we can address these issues by using the bioenergy? So basically, when it comes to bioenergy, we are talking about use of biomass for the generation of energy resources. Energy resources are required by every country because आपने देखा है कि जितनी भी हमारी developed countries हैं, they are rich in terms of energy resources. Developing countries are still struggling for the more and more energy generation. And major environmental degradation is caused by the energy exploitation because we all know that fossil fuel nowadays is considered as unsustainable because it is associated with various kind of environmental problems. So in search of a sustainable alternative, we can introduce bioenergy as a sustainable fuel. So in order to reclaim the degraded land, we can suggest the energy plantation. Now, what is energy plantation? There are many dedicated plant species which are well known for its calorific value, which are well known for its oil value, and all these part of the plant can be used for the energy generation. So in the picture, you can guess which type of plant is this. Basically, this is the plant which is known as Cassia fistula. हम इसे हिंदी में अमलतास भी कहते हैं. And this is a plant which has potential to grow in harsh environment. यानी कि जहां पर salinity भी ज्यादा हो, जहां पे dry land हो, वहां पर भी ये plant आसानी से grow हो सकता है. तो similar to this plant, there are many variety of plant species that we can recommend for the energy plantation, and at the same time, the same plant species also reclaim the land. It improve the quality of soil. So that is how we can address the issue of degraded land with the bioenergy plantation. Now, so we should remember the definition of desertification. So according to the UN conference, which was held in the Rio in 1992, and the conference was on the issue of environment and development. So this conference defined desertification and land degradation in a very beautiful manner. So it says that the land degradation in arid, humid, semi-arid, and it is because of the human activities and climatic actions. But we mainly concerned about the climatic action. We do not very concerned about the human activities. But now, as researchers have found that human activities are very significant in terms of climate change, because our anthropogenic activities are highly impactful towards the climate. So in this way, we can develop alternative foods to also overcome the climate change issues. So energy resources, sustainable energy resources or alternative energy resources can play a very significant role to overcome the climate related issues. Now, so what is bioenergy? So basically bioenergy is derived from the living mass, or we can say that the energy which is derived from plant residues, crop residues, agricultural crop residues, or animal derived product, or anything which we gain from the living system. So because everything has certain kind of calorific value, so we can convert this biomass to the energy resources. You can see this India map. Basically in this map, the more intense color shows the high potential for the biomass based energy generation. And this is known as Bioenergy Atlas, which is provided by the MNRE Government of India. So in all state of India has certain extent of biomass based energy generation potential. So according to an estimation, India has around 18,000 gigawatt of biomass based energy generation potential. So if you talk about the crisis, that is, it means ki what is the demand and what is the supply. So there is around 25 to 30,000 megawatt gap between the demand and supply. हमारे देश की जो प्रोडक्शन एफिशिएंसी है एनर्जी जनरेशन की और जितनी हमको जरूरत है उसके बीच में लगभग 30,000 मेगावाट का गैप है. So we can address this gap, we can fill this gap with the use of bioenergy, because हम ये देख सकते हैं कि 18,000 gigawatt potential है bioenergy का. So if we will develop some mechanism so that we can harness more and more bioenergy, then we can address the issue of energy crisis. If we talk about the current energy generation based on the biomass, so at present, India is generating around 10.8 gigawatt of bioenergy, and it is projected to increase this contribution of bioenergy by 2030 up to 50%. It means that whatever energy is generation in the India, government wants to more and more contribution from the biomass based energy generation. And because it is very important to also achieve the net zero emission target. So now, what are the different sources from where we can get biomass for the energy generation? So as in the diagram, you can see that the energy which we develop from the biomass, that biomass we say as a feedstock. So feedstock is the term which we use to indicate the biomass for the energy generation. And this feedstock can be obtained from different sources. We can directly obtain the feedstock from the energy plantation, that is from the energy crops. We can also collect the surplus forest residue. अगर हम अपने देश के फॉरेस्ट कवर को देखें, बहुत सारा surplus biomass generate होता है. So we all can use such surplus biomass for the energy generation. We can also use agro-industrial waste. Now, what is agro-industrial waste? It is very important to understand what is agro-industrial waste and what is agricultural waste. We all know what is agricultural waste. पैडी कल्टीवेशन के टाइम पे या वीट कल्टीवेशन के टाइम पे बहुत सारा रेसिड्यूज जनरेट होता है और इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस जो फार्मर हैं वो उसको डायरेक्टली बर्न कर देते हैं. नाउ डेज इट इज बैन, बट अभी भी बहुत सारे राज्यों में ये एक्टिविटी होती है कि जैसे ही पैडी कल्टीवेशन होता है हार्वेस्टिंग के टाइम में बहुत सारा जो पैडी रेजिड्यू है उसको जला देते हैं और उसका एक सिग्निफिकेंट इम्पैक्ट हमें देखने को मिलता है, स्पेशली इन द केस ऑफ दिल्ली एनसीआर. हरियाणा के फार्मर्स पराली को जलाते हैं और उसका इम्पैक्ट दिखता है हमें स्मॉक के रूप में, दैट इज अ फोटोकेमिकल स्मॉक के रूप में हमें उसका इम्पैक्ट दिखता है. सो अगर हमारे पास एक ऐसी मैकेनिज्म हो जिससे वी कैन generate bioenergy in a localized manner from those kind of residue, so we can address such kind of issues. Now, what is agro-industrial waste? So there are many industries which are based on the agricultural products. जैसे example के लिए bioethanol, which is based on the corn, sugar cane, and other crop species. So there are many agricultural industries which also generate significant extent of waste material, and we can use those waste material for the energy generation in the form of different energy products. When I'm saying different energy product, it means I am talking about solid fuel, liquid fuel, as well as gaseous fuels. Now, what is the classification of biomass feedstock? So if you want to classify biomass feedstock, we should understand what is the cause for generation of bioenergy. So when researchers and the stakeholders realized that there is energy crisis, severe energy crisis around the globe, because after 1970 oil crisis, development of alternative fuels was one of the most important target from the researchers and the energy stakeholders. So they used many feedstock for the generation of alternative energy resources. So initially, biofuel was derived from the materials which we also use for the food purpose. For example, mustard oil, vegetables oil. So when we derived bioenergy from those crops which we also use for the food, so this is known as first generation biofuel. But this first generation biofuel is associated with some kind of dilemma, which is known as food versus fuel dilemma. अब हमारे देश की जो पॉपुलेशन है ये 130 करोड़ क्रॉस कर रही है. सो इन दैट केस अगर हमारे पास जो भी फूड अवेलेबल है अगर उसको हम फ्यूल में कन्वर्ट करेंगे तो अगेन देयर विल बी द प्रॉब्लम फॉर फूड प्राइसेस. सो दैट इज व्हाई वी डोंट रिकमेंड फर्स्ट जनरेशन बायोफ्यूल फॉर द alternative energy resources because it is linked with the food versus fuel dilemma. So that is why we have to shift it toward the second generation fuel. Second generation biofuel is basically biofuel which we derive from those crops which consist of lignin material, starchy material, rich carbohydrate rich material, and it do not have any direct food value. तो ऐसे जितने भी हमारे नॉन फूड क्रॉप्स हैं जिनके अंदर कार्बोहाइड्रेट कंटेंट है, स्टार्ची कंटेंट है, लिग्नोसेल्यूलोज है, दैट वी कैन यूज फॉर द जनरेशन ऑफ बायोफ्यूल. तो इसे हमने कहा सेकेंड जनरेशन बायोफ्यूल. बट अगेन देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम with second generation biofuel because for the harvesting of such kind of crops we need fresh water, we need more and more land. So that is why again second generation biofuel seems to be less sustainable. That is why we have to shift it toward the third generation biofuel. Now what is third generation biofuel? Third generation biofuel is basically a biofuel which we derive from the algal biomass, the most advanced biomass, because algal biomass do not compete with the food as well as land, and it can be cultivated in wastewater also. We can cultivate microalgae in the brackish water also. So these are the three different kinds of feedstock which we generally use for the generation of biofuel. If you see the global scenario of the biofuel production, till now, most of the industrial processes are using first generation biofuel because corn-based bioethanol is highly commercialized. Okay. In India, there is a mission known as National Biodiesel Mission. Under this mission, government has already identified suitable feedstock for the biofuel generation, and government suggested that we should use rotten waste materials like broken rice, broken wheat, and other agricultural residues which are rich in terms of starchy content. And such kind of feedstock which are waste in nature.
Vinayak,
Uh,
sir,
yes.
sorry, sir, for your interrupt. Sir, the slide is not moving.
Okay, okay. Abhi move kar rahi hai?
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes. Sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Actually, I was explaining this slide. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay, okay. So such kind of biofuel is known as advanced biofuel. So now there are four types of biofuel feedstock: first generation, second generation, third generation, and when we derive biofuel from the waste biomass, it is known as advanced biomass feedstock. Now, so what are the various pathways by which we can convert energy from the biomass? So as in the schematic diagram, you can see that there are two important pathways which we adopt for the conversion of biomass into the energy. One is physical conversion and the second one is biochemical conversion, or you can say that biochemical routes. So under the physical conversion, we use basically seed pressing or physical methods for the extraction of that valuable material which we convert into the biofuel. And in the chemical conversion, we use several methods. For example, we use trans-esterification for the conversion of fatty acid into the fatty acid methyl esters, which we generally known as biodiesel. In the second case, that is the thermal conversion, there are many thermal pathways through which we can directly convert biomass into the biofuel, and it is combustion, it is gasification, liquefaction, and pyrolysis. Nowadays, researchers are widely using pyrolysis for the generation of fuel from the biomass directly. In the biochemical routes, there are two main pathways. One is fermentation and the other one is anaerobic digestion. We all know that alcohol we derive from the fermentation process. Again, fermentation, there are many parts of fermentation process, single step fermentation, simultaneous saccharification and fermentation. So as per the demand of the industry, they use different pathways for the fermentation also. And anaerobic digestion is the process through which we derived biogas from the organic waste or from any kind of waste biomass which contain organic content. So these are the different pathways through which we can generate bioenergy. We can also generate biohydrogen from the biomass by following the photofermentation process and dark fermentation process. So the routes, or you can say the pathways from biomass to bioenergy is well defined, and it is already practiced in the industrial sectors. So now I just want to emphasize one process which is known as physical conversion process. Basically, in this process, we have shown the process of biodiesel production by the extraction of oil from the plant material. So there are many plant materials which contain oil, and oil is the precursor for the biodiesel, because oil is consist of fatty acids, and these fatty acids can be converted into the fatty acid methyl ester by a very simple organic reaction which is known as trans-esterification. So this reaction can be catalyzed in the presence of a catalyst, and there are many routes through which we can catalyze this reaction. And आज के टाइम पे भी जितनी भी हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज हैं, they are following this process for the generation of biodiesel. And nowadays biodiesel is very demanding because जो भी हमारा वेस्ट कुकिंग ऑयल है, हम अपने घरों में भी जो ऑयल यूज करते हैं जिसे हम लोग कुकिंग ऑयल कहते हैं, आफ्टर सिंगल यूज ऑफ दैट ऑयल अगर ऑयल बच जाता है तो वो हम सब जानते हैं कि दैट ऑयल शुड नॉट बी यूज्ड, बिकॉज उसके अंदर कार्सिनोजेनिक प्रॉपर्टी डेवलप हो जाती है या वो हमारे हेल्थ के लिए हार्मफुल होता है. तो अगर हेल्थ कंसर्न को भी हम ध्यान में रखें तो वी शुड नॉट यूज द वेस्ट कुकिंग ऑयल. सो व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ दैट ऑयल? We can produce biodiesel out of that waste cooking oil, because it is a very good feedstock for the generation of biodiesel. So by this pathway, we can convert biodiesel from any kind of feedstock which consists of oil content. हमारे आसपास ऐसे बहुत सारे प्लांट्स होते हैं जिनके सीड के अंदर सिग्निफिकेंट अमाउंट में फैटी एसिड्स प्रेजेंट होते हैं, और उन्हें हम कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं बायोडीजल में. फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने स्टार्टिंग में आपको एक प्लांट दिखाया था, दैट इज कैसिया फेस्टुला अमलतास, करंजा. इसके भी अलावा पुंगामिया पिनेटा, ऐसे बहुत सारे ट्रॉपिकल प्लांट्स हैं जिनको हम यूज कर सकते हैं फॉर द ऑयल प्रोडक्शन, फिर हम इसको यूज कर सकते हैं फॉर द बायोडीजल जनरेशन. नाउ व्हाई दीज प्लांट्स? only because the types of fatty acid present in the biomass is very important in terms from the fuel properties. ये ऐसे ऑयल होते हैं जो कि फ्यूल के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। हर तरह के फैटी एसिड्स को वी कैन नॉट कन्वर्ट इनटू द फैटी एसिड मिथाइल एस्टर। So there are some specific group of fatty acids which we use for the conversion of fatty acid methyl esters. Now, the second process which I want to emphasize is biochemical route. And in this diagram, you can see the pathway of anaerobic digestion is shown. Now, what is anaerobic digestion? किसी भी तरह का अगर वेस्ट मटेरियल हमारे पास है, चाहे वो म्यूनिसिपल वेस्ट मटेरियल हो, इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट मटेरियल हो, जिसके अंदर ऑर्गेनिक कंटेंट प्रेजेंट है और जिसका नेचर बायोडिग्रेडेबल है, we can use such material as a feedstock for the biogas production. And technically, what is biogas? We all know that biogas is nothing but it is the methane along with some impurities of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, water vapor, and other gases. And methane is the target gas. So we can generate methane from the waste material by following this pathway, by following the biogas production. Basically, in this pathway, there are three main important processes. Number one is hydrolysis, second is the acidogenesis, and third is the methanogenesis. Basically, methanogenesis is carried out by some bacteria. They are anaerobe and they are known as methanogens. Methanogen को active होने के लिए they need lower pH, acidic pH. So after the acidogenesis, the pH of the whole feedstock lowers down and these bacterial population become activated और उसके बाद से वो बायोगैस को प्रोड्यूस करते हैं। सो आप देख सकते हैं कि डिफरेंट जो फीड स्टॉक्स हैं जो हमें अलग अलग सोर्सेज से मिल रहे हैं, वी कैन यूज ऑल फीड स्टॉक फॉर द बायोगैस प्रोडक्शन। एंड इफ यू कंसीडर द जियोग्राफिकल पोजीशन ऑफ इंडिया, भारत की जो जियोग्राफिकल लोकेशन है वो बहुत अच्छी है इन टर्म्स ऑफ बायोगैस प्रोडक्शन, इसलिए क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ सनी डेज ज्यादा होते हैं, तो जो एक टेम्परेचर हमारे देश में है वो बहुत कोल्ड क्लाइमेट नहीं है हमारे देश में। हमारे देश में एक टेम्परेचर ऑलरेडी प्रोड्यूस है रहता है जिसपे हमारे एनारोब अच्छे से काम करते हैं। तो बेसिकली ये जो मेसोफिलिक बैक्टीरिया होते हैं बहुत ही ऑप्टिमम तरीके से इस क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशन में ग्रो होते हैं और फंक्शन करते हैं। तो बायोगैस प्रोडक्शन की बहुत अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया के पास है जो कि यूरोपियन कंट्रीज के पास नहीं है। सो नाउ व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोग्राम्स implemented by the government of India to promote the bioenergy? Now, अभी हम ये समझा कि बहुत सारे टेक्निकल पाथवेज हैं फॉर द जनरेशन ऑफ बायो एनर्जी। सो क्या ये वास्तव में इनका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हो रहा है? तो अकॉर्डिंग टू द MNRE देयर आर 3 मेन प्रोग्राम बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया which are for the promotion of bioenergy. So the number one program is basically waste to energy. Number two is the biomass program, and number third is the biogas program. So under the waste to energy program, there is a scheme launched by the government of India, which is known as Satat scheme. Satat scheme is basically sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation. It talks about the bio-CNG. हम सभी CNG के बारे में जानते हैं, that is a compressed natural gas, जहां पे हम लगभग 95% प्योरिटी का मीथेन यूज करते हैं एज अ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन फ्यूल। सो इसी पैटर्न पे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने ये स्कीम लॉन्च की ताकि वी विल प्रोड्यूस बायो CNG फ्रॉम द वेस्ट मटेरियल बाय कंप्रेसिंग द बायोगैस, और यू कैन से दैट बाय द अपग्रेडेशन ऑफ बायोगैस। तो इट इज वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया जो अभी करेंटली वर्किंग है, और बहुत सारा पायलट प्रोजेक्ट इंडिया में चल रहा है बेस्ड ऑन द सतत स्कीम। द सेकेंड स्कीम इज को जनरेशन प्रोग्राम। व्हाट इज को जनरेशन प्रोग्राम? तो अगर हम इंडस्ट्रियल यूनिट्स को ध्यान से देखें तो बहुत सारे ऐसे इंडस्ट्रियल यूनिट्स होते हैं, दे यूज बॉयलर फॉर द एनर्जी जनरेशन, क्योंकि वो सेल्फ सफिशिएंट होते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ एनर्जी, इन टर्म्स ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस अगर हम ऐसी इंडस्ट्रीज को देखें जहां पर वाइनरी प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, जहां पर डिस्टिलरी वाला काम हो रहा है, शुगर केन जी इंडस्ट्रीज हैं, दे ऑल आर यूजिंग बायोमास, they all are using co-generation for the electricity production. So what is this co-generation? Basically under the co-generation, many kind of feedstock they are using, and basically government is mainly emphasizing on the briquettes and pellets. Now what is briquette and pellets? Briquette and pellets are basically derived from the plants. तो जो भी हमारा सरप्लस बायोमास है उससे हम ब्रिकेट बना सकते हैं, उससे हम पिलेट्स बना सकते हैं, और इस ब्रिकेट को हम ग्रीन कोल भी कहते हैं बिकॉज it is also used as the alternative of coal because it is high in terms of calorific value. तो जब ड्राई बायोमास को बहुत ज्यादा हम प्रेस कर देते हैं तो उसके अंदर की जो कैलोरिफिक वैल्यू बढ़ जाती है, तो उसे हम ब्रिकेट्स कहते हैं, एंड इट कैन बी यूज्ड एज अ ड्राई फ्यूल. सो नाउ डेज there are many industrial units in the India, they are using co-generation boiler under the cogeneration program. Third one is the biogas program. Government has already launched one program in the past, which was known as National Biogas Program. But unfortunately, this program was a big failure because initially we were not very technological advanced. हमें ये नहीं पता था कि किस तरीके से हमें ऑप्टिमम तरीके से बायोगैस प्रोड्यूस करनी है. तो अर्लियर जो मॉडल्स थे बायोगैस प्लांट के वो फेल हो गए क्योंकि उनका लॉन्ग टर्म एप्लीकेशन नहीं हो पाया. But nowadays, there are many innovative methods through which we can generate biogas by designing more innovative design of the biogas plants. So these were the policies which government have initiated for the promotion of bioenergy. Now, what we are doing in our laboratory. So basically, we are working on the integrated bioenergy systems. Means we are not only producing bioenergy, but we are also producing some value-added materials along with the bioenergy. So this is one of our project on which we are working. Basically, this project target is we are generating bioenergy along with the development of some biosensor that we can use for the detection of heavy metals in the wastewater. So again, you can see that bioenergy generation is not a single thing. We can do multiple things along with the bioenergy development. So what we are doing, we are using waste oranges peels. We are using waste materials, which we get from the citrus fruits. And we are extracting some chemicals, some essential oils, which contain D-limonene in that peels. And we are using D-limonene for the development of our chemosensor. And the rest part, the remaining part, basically we are using for the generation of biogas from the anaerobization process. So this what we are following in our laboratory. So similar kind of work is also happening in many parts of India. Many researchers are working in the integrated system of bioenergy. So they are not only focusing for the bioenergy generation, but they are also working on the solution of some environmental problems. Like most of the researchers are also working for bioenergy development along with the wastewater treatment, bioenergy generation along with the solid waste management. And such kind of work is basically important to achieve the concept of circular economy. Now, what is circular economy? So when we talk about bioenergy generation, it involves a huge cost because there is a cost for the biomass collection. There is a cost for the conversion of biomass to the bioenergy. So how can we make the whole process sustainable? So in order to make the whole process sustainable, we should follow the concept of circular bioeconomy. It means that whatever waste is generated from every step, we have to use those waste material as a precursor material for the product of next step. So by following this process, there will be no any emission of waste material throughout the process, and there will be the formation of different value-added materials. So such kind of concept is known as circular bioeconomy. And such kind of model is also very significant in order to achieve the environmental sustainability. So this is the last slide. And in this slide, I just want to discuss about the challenges and the possible solution. So what are the challenges with respect to the bioenergy development in India? So these are the some significant challenges. Number one is resource availability and sustainability. Theoretically, we are rich in terms of bioenergy, but on the practical ground, इसका जो implementation है उसमें बहुत सारी problems हैं. नंबर वन, जो भी इंडस्ट्रियल यूनिट्स काम कर रही है बायोमास बेस्ड एनर्जी जनरेशन के ऊपर, उनके सामने सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आती है कि रेगुलर सप्लाई ऑफ बायोमास फीड स्टॉक इज नॉट देयर, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रीजन जो प्रोडक्शन है वो हैम्पर होता है. अब प्रोडक्शन हैम्पर होने का मतलब है कि एक बहुत बड़ा लॉस उनको होता है. तो ये एक बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. अब इसका सोल्यूशन क्या हो सकता है? तो इसका एक सोल्यूशन ये हो सकता है कि we should empower the supply chain management of biomass resources and we should focus on the localized available biomass material. तो हमारे आसपास जो बायोमास जनरेट हो रहा है जो कि एक फीड स्टॉक हो सकता है, हम उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं फॉर द बायो एनर्जी जनरेशन. द सेकेंड मेन ऑब्स्टेकल इज टेक्नोलॉजिकल बैरियर्स. सो आज भी जो भी प्रोसेस हम यूज कर रहे हैं, वी कैन नॉट से दैट दिस प्रोसेस इज 100% सस्टेनेबल और 100% कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव, बिकॉज टेक्नोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स बहुत सारी आती हैं व्हेन वी कन्वर्ट बायोमास इनटू द बायो एनर्जी. और ये जो प्रोसेस में हम केमिकल्स इन्वॉल्व करते हैं, या इनके साथ साथ जो बाय प्रोडक्ट्स निकलते हैं जो कि इन्वायरमेंट को हार्म भी कर सकते हैं, सो हमें इनको कम करने की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है। सो देर आर मेनी टेक्निकल बैरियर्स। अब इसका सोल्यूशन क्या है? सो बाय फॉलोइंग द ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री प्रिंसिपल, by following the green solvents, by following the green pathways, we can resolve some of the issues with these technological barriers. Third is the economic viability. In most of the cases, अगर हम गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया जो प्रोजेक्ट सैंक्शन करती है फॉर द बायो एनर्जी डेवलपमेंट, जिसको कि इरेडा फंड करती है, अगर हम उसको ध्यान से ऑब्जर्व करें तो हम ये देखते हैं कि इरेडा जो फंड करती है उसके मुकाबले जो आउटकम है बहुत कम है। यानी कि ऐसे बहुत कम प्रोजेक्ट होते हैं जो कि पायलट स्केल पे सक्सेसफुल होते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर हम जेट्रोफा प्लांटेशन की बात करें, तो अंडर द एनबीएम नेशनल बायोडीजल मिशन, जेट्रोफा प्लांटेशन वाज इनिशिएटेड इन साउथ इंडिया, एंड इनिशियली फार्मर्स हैव एक्सेप्टेड दिस प्लांटेशन, बट आफ्टर सम टाइम दे रियलाइज दैट कि जितना वो कॉस्ट लगा रहे हैं उसके हिसाब से उतना आउटकम नहीं आ रहा है, एंड देयर आर मेनी ऑब्स्टेकल्स ड्यूरिंग दैट प्रोसेस। तो एक तो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पर यह है कि इकोनॉमिक जो वायबिलिटी है वो इसकी कम है। तो हमें इस वाले पार्ट पे काम करने की बहुत जरूरत है, एंड वी कैन अचीव द इकोनॉमिक वायबिलिटी व्हेन वी विल adopt the circular bioeconomic concept. Policy and regulatory framework is also need to be tackled, because the policy and the regulatory framework which deals with the bioenergy promotion, अगर हम इस चीज को कंसीडर करें तो गवर्नमेंट इज मोर फोकसिंग टुवर्ड्स द सोलर एनर्जी, government is more focusing towards the wind energy, but still there is a lack of attention toward the bioenergy development. And if we consider the allocation of budget under the different heads, so there is very less budget allocated to the bioenergy development. And the last one is the infrastructure and logistics. We still facing problem in conversion of bioenergy because we don't have appropriate infrastructure. एग्जाम्पल के लिए, if you want to use agricultural residues for the energy generation, so in the village area और फार्मर के पास वो फैसिलिटी होनी चाहिए जहां पर वो अपने क्रॉप रेजिड्यू को जाके डंप कर सके फॉर द बायो एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन, बट स्टिल वी डोंट हैव दैट फैसिलिटी। Still, many facilities are required to collect the biomass. Biomass collection efficiency is very low. जितना भी हमारे देश में सरप्लस बायोमास प्रोड्यूस होता है, हमारी जो कलेक्शन एफिशिएंसी है वो बहुत ही कम है। तो ये सारा इसलिए है बिकॉज वी डोंट हैव अप्रोप्रिएट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर। सो दीज आर द सिग्निफिकेंट challenges and whatever solution I have just discussed here. So at last, I just want to say that with the use of bioenergy or with the promotion of bioenergy, we can deal many environmental challenges, such as we can stop desertification, we can improve our land, we can also fix the carbon dioxide, which are nowadays is increasing day by day, and we can also treat our wastewater. And in a holistic way, we can say that we can restore our environment with the help of bioenergy development. So thank you so much for inviting me in this webinar. And in case of any question, please ask.
Anybody want to ask any question from participant side? सबको allow कर दो। एक साथ ऑल भी हो जाता है। ठीक है, कोई है, कोई क्वेश्चन वगैरह तो नहीं पूछिए? क्वेश्चन आंसर हैंड रेज का भी है सर। हाँ ठीक है, ओके। एंड नाउ आई इनवाइट आशा हम्बर to for formally convey the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vinayak sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge and nicely explain how bioenergy can restore land and stop desertification. I would like to thank all the participants for joining the webinar, and also would like to thank Professor Hiran Yadav for joining the webinar. I would like to thank all the organizer of the webinar. I would like to thank IT department for the smooth functioning of webinar. Once again, I thank Dr. Vinayak sir for nicely present the webinar and give the talk. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Should I leave, sir?
Yes, sir.